Alright, so Steve, we're here at Gamescom. You guys finally revealed the safety car. What? Why did it take so long?
Because we're trying to do it justice. We made the first 2010 game. There was a lot of content that went into that, but then everybody always wants more. There's also lots of licensing things around it. It doesn't come automatically with the F1 license, so had to make sure all of that was going to happen. Everybody signed their signatures away. Finally include the safety car, yes.
Before we dive into the mechanics of the safety car in the game, let's talk about two other things, restarts and red flags. They're both in there. What can cause a red flag?
It's kind of the situation that could trigger a safety car, which is there's been a big accident, for example. A car might be laying on the racing line. If the safety car can't come out and drive around on the racing line, which is where it needs to be, if the track's blocked, then that can cause a red flag, and we do the restarts on the grid, which is quite cool as well. Because we've got to account for all these situations. We can't send the safety car out and it just drive through all the cars that are blocking the road. It would look ridiculous.
Will we be able to tinker with the car and the tires during red flag situations?
No, and that's exactly what I'd like the situation to be in real life as well. Because that kind of, the worst thing is you're set up for this amazing finish to the race, or you've been chasing somebody for ages and you think, I'm going to get him, I've been saving my fuel, I've been looking after my tyres. Then you get the safety car that can't come out, you get a red flag and a restart, and everybody changes their tyres, and you're thinking, that's just changed the picture completely. So you can't do any of those things, it's locked, and hopefully Formula One will copy us next year.
So with a safety car, I mean, there's so many different rules and regulations surrounding it. I hardly know where to start, but let's just start with the speed limitations. How do you apply that? Yeah,
so the safety car drives as quickly as it can around the track, but it's not a Formula One car, it's got its own model. You can drive within something like 90% of your total speed around the circuit to catch up with the train, and then when you're part of that train and you're following the cars, you can drop back a certain distance. If you really start to take the mick and you're dropping back too far and you're trying to annoy the other players behind you, then what we do is ghost the car. Previously we were picking the car up and putting you to the back of the line, but it didn't look very good, it was a bit disjointed, so your car becomes ghosted because you're griefing basically. Other cars can drive through you, and then if you decide to play fair again and you join the queue, then your car goes solid and you're back as part of the train again.
One of the big things always when the safety car comes out in real Formula One is who does it pick up, because it's a lot of times it's not the leader. How do you have that mechanic in the game that it lets the cars through and up until the leader?
Yes, we do. So if you come out, you can kind of follow the train to a certain point, but it does release some cars and let them go past. So we showcase that not only on the OSD that says you can pass the safety car or go back round and join the queue, but also the lights on the safety car changing as well to kind of signify that.
With the safety car, obviously one of the most exciting things is the restart, because the safety car goes away, the leader gets to decide the tempo. Is that full rule set and mechanic in there?
Yes, it is. So it's up to the leader to kind of do the right thing, and he tries to bunch the group up as the safety car announces it's going to be going in. Nobody can overtake until they pass the white mark and they can start overtaking again. But you see a few tactics there where people have got to be on the ball and ready for that restart, getting the tyres up to temperature, making sure that they can get on the throttle, not overtaking too early, and as soon as you're across that line, racing is back on. I think it's actually been quite a good experience. It works in single player, but the cool thing is in multiplayer, because you know everybody's got that apprehension of getting ready for the restart. So I think it adds something new to the game this year.
And you've decided this year to take out the engine settings from cruise to fast and replace that with a fuel mixture. Why did you do that?
Because I think they're kind of almost tied together anyway. And a crucial thing for us, and has certainly been proven this year, is about your fuel management really. So it's kind of tied to the engine anyhow, because when you're turning the mix up, you're using more engine power, but you're also obviously consuming more fuel. And we've done a lot of tests on this, and sometimes it sounds quite geeky, but I think it's a cool thing in Formula One where, for example, if you're stuck in traffic, this is your opportunity to kind of save fuel or turn the engine down, knowing that you've got something in reserve for later.
So another hot topic besides the safety car has been the brake bias. People want to know, will it be in, will it be out, will it be in later maybe?
Yeah, well, we've been playing around with brake bias, and I really want to put it in the game because we've also modelled the levers in all the cars as well, which looks ace. So when you're driving down the straight, I mean, I really love all the little animations we've done on the steering wheels, which are all bespoke this year, so they're all proper team steering wheels with the buttons and the layouts. And I love kind of seeing the driver press the DRS button, seeing pressing curves, turning the fuel mix up and down, and we also had the animation for doing the brake bias as well, because I always watch, for example, Schumacher's on boards, and he's playing with that all the time into all the different corners, not just because throughout the race the car weight's changing and shifting the balance, but he wants certain turning into the corners. But we didn't quite have the balance of that working to an acceptable standard. Yes, we could have just said we'll put it in there so that we can go, yes, we've got brake bias and it's all working, but we want these things to have justice applied to them so that when they are really working and people can to really feel the difference and they're working the way that we want them to, we'll include it. So it's not in for the original release, but there's nothing to say that in one of the updates that we might end up doing for the game, we can not add that back in.
So one of the things that some players were a little bit disappointed with last year was the damage model. I think they expected a bit more of that. Will they see that this year?
Unfortunately, there are restrictions around it. When we go to FOM and say, oh, we want to be able to completely destroy this car, they're not too happy with that, and neither are the teams. You see it in real life, but there are certain limits to it. So we're pushing as much as we can on that. Cosmetic things we have improved in terms of the scratches and the general condition of the bodywork, how fragile the cars are, which is really important to us because we did make the cars a little too strong last year because we weren't too sure how players were going to race amongst one another. But what I want and what the rest of the team want is for people to want to look after their cars and realise that they are precious things. And one of the ways we can get through that is by making the damage a bit more apparent or making things a bit more lightweight, just true to real life. So you want to look after a car.